So from being very active on social media, is there any pressure that comes with that for you?
People ask me why I don't bleach my skin. Oh, you Congolese, you know?
What?
Telling my family that I want to study film was not, like, they still don't really think it's a job.
He was a member of one of the greatest bands of all time. Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, Liam Payne, Harry Styles. We are so honored to have him here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the other one?
I've always been, what we call in lingal munoko, so I have a big mouth. Social media is based on trends, it's based on current events. So every time you don't make a video on something relevant, it's easy to feel like you're missing out.
Today's video we have a very special guest, Triciampisi. I would describe her as a little bit of everything, and I think based on what I saw on your pages, Tricia, I would call you a filmmaker, an actor, a film commentator, so many different things. But I think instead of me talking for you, it would be nice if you can briefly introduce yourself and let us know which of these many titles of things that you do you identify with the most.
Hi Felicity. So my name is Triciampisi, and I'm an actress, a screenwriter, and a content creator. I mean, overall, I'll say I'm a storyteller because that encompasses everything I do. Yeah, I love telling stories, and so I'll find any way possible to do that.
Is this something that, you studied? Where is this passion of storytelling coming from exactly?
I mean, I think it was since I was little, but obviously, we're African, we're Congolese. Telling my family that I want to study film was not, like, they still don't really think it's a job. So I had to study, something similar, but something that would still help me in film. So I studied journalism and media studies, which I think helped me a lot. I'm actually happy that I ended up doing that because as much as I love the creative side of storytelling, filmmaking and show business is a business. So actually understanding the media helped me. My career path, yeah.
Are you saying that your family still don't think it's a job?
No, I think if I one day make it to the Cannes Film Festival, which I believe I will, that's when they'll be like, okay, this is real. But now they're just like, it's a hobby,
You are a Congolese based in SA right now.
Yes.
I see that your roots are very, very important to you. I mean, this is from an external view, me as a follower of you. I see that your roots, whether it's being African or being Congolese, is quite important to you. How do you think that your roots contribute, or how do you think your roots help you in becoming the person that you eventually want to be, whether that is a storyteller, like you said, or just as an individual?
I mean, I think it's very important to me because it's kind of all we have. All we have is our stories, all we have is our culture. And my parents, from as early as I can remember, I knew that we were Congolese. So clearly it was something that my parents instilled in us. And because I love them, I love Congo. And I also grew up there. So I don't know, I just feel like there is no Tricia without Congo.
Yeah. I've been watching you for a while now, and I really like how you kind of mix entertainment and you touch some of the social issues sometimes. You touch a bit of history, a bit of culture.
How Congolese people sing foreign songs.
Hey, are you ready to go? Oh gosh, I forgot. Sorry, I can't. I'm babysitting. Who's the cute little guy? Oh, it's my uncle. What? Yeah, the baby's my uncle. If you didn't want to go...
I really think you blend in humor and entertainment so well with culture and lifestyle and history and just being African. Is this something that you do intentionally, or you're just doing your thing and it's coming out the way that it's coming out?
I think that's a very good question. Obviously, when I started out making videos for TikTok and YouTube even, I didn't really know what I was doing. But then after a while, I've always been, what we call in lingal munoko, so I have a big mouth. So I, every now and again I would start talking just from, my own personal experiences and stuff. And I realized that it resonates with a lot of young people. Most of my following on TikTok is young African girls, boys too, but mostly girls. And I've always loved history. I think that it's very important for anybody, specifically Africans, to know our history, because oftentimes our history is told to us, but it's lies. Like I can't tell you the number of times people tell me things about Africa, and it's like, you've never even been here. What you're saying doesn't even make sense. It's a lie. You're lying. But if you don't know your continent, you don't know your history, you'll believe it. You know, something little like somebody, I remember I was talking about something and someone was like, if it wasn't for Europeans, Africans would never be civilized. And it's like, that's not even, not only, it's not, yes, it's offensive, but it's not even true. It's a lie. It's not true. There were countless civilizations across the African continent. But if you don't know that, you'll believe it. And then now you'll start feeling small and feeling like, oh yes, I'm this and I'm stupid and my ancestors. And I'm like, no. So my point is to try to get young Africans to just be excited and proud about being African, you know? So, but at the same time, sometimes things get lost in translation and you don't want to seem like you're preaching. So I realized that humor is the best way to get a message across. Make something funny and then people will laugh, but then the deeper meaning is that being African is cool and you don't have to try to be anything other than what you are.
Definitely. I completely agree. I really think humor is one of the best ways to teach. I also feel like humor is one of the best ways to learn. If you remember, even some teachers in high school or like in primary school, the ones that entertained you the most are probably the ones that you remember the most from. I agree with you. And at the point about civilization, it's subjective, you know, it's not like a one size fits all. So from being very active on social media, is there any pressure that comes with that for you? Do you feel like it's weighing on your shoulders sometime, or you just couldn't care less?
I think it's a mixture of both. I do like to take breaks. I think I was very fortunate enough to join a series of workshops hosted by TikTok Sub-Saharan Africa, where they explain things to you, explain content creation, all that stuff to you. And I've also made a lot of friends in the content creator space, and burnout is a real thing because social media is based on trends, it's based on current events. So every time you don't make a video on something relevant, it's easy to feel like you're missing out, and so you can put pressure on yourself to post every day or whatever. And that happened to me a while ago, but then I got sick and so I couldn't post anything at all. So I stayed off the app for quite a long time, and then when I came back and I started making videos again, my followers were still there and I got even more followers or whatever. So then I realized it's not that deep. I don't have to put as much pressure on myself as I was before. So sometimes during the week I take breaks, sometimes I won't post for a week or two, but then also planning to just talk about what I like talking about as well, because it's also easy to get lost in the social media train and be like, oh, I just want to go viral, I just want to get views. And I was like, no, I'm only going to talk about what I like talking about. If I don't want to talk about it, I won't talk about it. I don't care if that specific trend is viral.
How about negative comments? Do you get a lot of that, and how do you react when that happens?
I do. Unfortunately, negative comments comes with social media. People are bolder online because, you know, the things people say online, they won't say it to your face.
Never.
They will never. And I think the hardest thing for me is not even negative comments. The hardest thing is how to respond. Because as a Quinoise, I want to respond. Someone comes to me, I'm like, okay, let's go. Like literally. But, you know, I can't do that because that's also the problem with having a platform. Like I said, I have a lot of young people that follow me and young girls, and I don't want to set the example that everybody, when somebody insults you, must insult back and things like that. So for the biggest struggle for me is learning to either ignore negative comments or just to think with compassion, which is annoying. I'm like, maybe this person, it's so hard. I'm like, maybe this person's having a bad day. Yeah, it's very hard.
You know, one thing that I've definitely learned the hard way is not digging into comments. I used to be that kind of person. I don't know, every creative, I feel like the majority of creative people, they are so attached to their work. And so when someone says something wrong about something that took me hours to make, I always used to feel like, how dare you say that? Do you know how long it took me to make this? So I used to dig, especially on YouTube. I used to dig in comments and just like be reading everything that everyone is saying. I want to respond to everybody. I want to like, you know, do every video that they ask me to do. I was really, and I feel like part of it was also because I was growing up, I was a people pleaser and all of that. But one thing I've learned with time is really you don't have to read all the comments. Like, it's okay to respond to the first 10 people that comment and just go about your life, honestly. And I feel like that personally has helped me because it really used to like hurt me every time that I get in negative comments. I'm like, no, I'm not like that. Why would they say that I'm like that? So I definitely understand that. So if you had, let's say if you have someone that would like to be like you, let's say be active on social media or like work in the media business or even be a storyteller like you. If you had a child, do you think you would encourage them to join this line of work, or you would be like, I don't know?
That's a very good question. I was having that conversation with a friend of mine who's an actress. I'd say, personally, I wouldn't want any of my children to join the industry as children. I would, I don't think it's worth it. I think maybe when you become an adult, sure. So, like I said, I have a lot of young followers, but I also have a lot of older followers. So let me pretend I'm giving advice to the child version of someone and the adult version of someone. For the kids, if you want to be, you know, an actress, a dancer, filmmaker, a content creator, I would say learn as much as you can. And you learn from watching. You know, they say voir c'est savoir. So seeing is knowing. You learn from watching. Watch content creators, watch movies, read books, you know, all of that stuff, but learn as much as you can during your quote unquote, I call childhood your preparation period. Everything that I'm doing now, I've been doing it since I was little. Obviously, I couldn't act when I was young. So what I would do is I'd watch my favorite movies and I'd memorize them. And I'd take this little small camera I had and I'd perform in front of my camera. Or I would read books. Or I found out that you can find movie scripts online. So I'd read the scripts of movies that I like and things like that. So anything you want to be during your childhood, I'd say that should be your preparation period. If you want to be a soccer player, go to soccer lessons. If you want to, you know, whatever you want to be, prepare during this time. So that once you feel like I can start, you're not starting from scratch. You're already prepared. And then for adults, also the same thing. But then what happens now in adulthood, that as children often are just excited to try new things. I think the older we get, the more afraid we become. Like most of the adults I speak to want to become content creators. They're always like, oh, but I don't know where to start, and I don't have a good quality camera, or I don't. And I was like, it's just starts. Literally just starts.
Definitely. My next question is, I think when we spoke earlier, briefly you told me about how, yes, you do like talking about topics related to your roots, or like you would love to make more content about Congo, but you also don't want it to be like stereotypical or anything like that. What are some of the stereotypes that you have faced as a Congolese living abroad?
That's a good question. Obviously, I'm part of the Congolese diaspora, but I still live in Africa. So, you know, there are many similarities between Congolese people and South African people and Kenyan people. There's many similarities between Africans in general. So at least in that area, I've had the grace of, we're all African, you know. That's why so many people, I guess, can relate to my videos, even when they're specifically Congolese. But I think some of the stereotypes are, people ask me why I don't bleach my skin. They're like, oh, you're Congolese, you know?
What?
Yes. They're like, every Congolese person I know bleaches their skin. And I'm like, no way. No.
That's an interesting one. One of the most popular stereotypes I come across is like, why do you not dress up flashy? As in like, why don't you have so many colors? You know, you guys dress up in yellow and blue and all of those colors. Why are you not wearing that? I'm like, you guys know Congo is very big, right? Like we like fashion, you know, we are that type, but it doesn't mean that all of us will just dress up like in multicolored outfits and things like that. But skin is a very interesting one. You know, the funny thing is, where I grew up in Congo, because I grew up in Bandundu, the approach towards skin colors is quite different there. Like, people just appreciate diversity. I remember growing up, even we used to admire people that had darker skin, because every time we go fetch water, when they shower, they have like, you know, when like drops of water like staying on your skin. We really thought that it sparkled so nicely, like those aluminiums, litol that you put on top, the white ones. Exactly. Yeah, as kids we thought it was so cool that when water is on the drops of water on their body, they were sparkling, right? Like so we thought it was really cool. But also I had instances where people would admire people that had lighter skin, for example, but there was not a lot of colorism.
Yeah, literally. That's why for me I'm always shocked, because my dad is also from Bandundu, and growing up skin tone was never a thing. We just like beauty is beauty, and
beauty, exactly.
Literally, it was like, oh, that auntie's so beautiful, and that auntie's so beautiful, and the two aunties would have completely different skin tones and stuff. So yeah, but then obviously a lot of people do bleach their skin, and so I guess that's the reputation we've gotten, because people always like, oh, you Congolese, but you don't bleach. I was like,
and you grew up in, I remember, because we did have a short call before this interview. You did tell me that you grew up in Congo. How was your experience growing up in Congo?
I mean, it was because I was born in South Africa, and then we had visited Congo a few times. I think once with my parents when I was about 4 or 5, and then when I was 7, we went to live there. It was a bit different from what I was used to, but yeah, overall it was good. It was different, but it was good because I grew up back and forth between South Africa and Congo. Oftentimes people ask me to compare and things like that, but I just feel at home when I'm in Congo. And I know it sounds corny, but it's true. Like, when you feel like there's a difference between living in a different country where you're used to it and it's like a second home. But when you go to Congo, I can't get lost in Kinshasa, and if I do, I'll find my way,
I think it's important that you actually said that. The one thing that I think goes really well in Kinshasa is it's hard to get lost. And I think, was it in 2022 that I went to Kinshasa alone? Because every time we went back, because I also, I spent a lot of time out of the country. Every time we went back, I was always with my family. And when you're going with family, it's always like you're shielded, you were dropped from point A to point B. And so not last year, so 2022, I decided to go alone. And what I noticed in Kinshasa is, as chaotic as it is, when you feel like you're getting lost, anybody that you ask a direction, they will do their best to tell you where you're going. It's funny because that's the one good thing I can say about people in Kinshasa, because usually I don't have a lot of nice things to say. How can you compare the social culture in South Africa with the social culture in Congo? What is it that makes you feel at home in Kinshasa as opposed to when you go to SA?
I think in Kinshasa it's very difficult to quote unquote be alone. I think in South Africa and many countries abroad, we tend to, especially countries that have a rather stronger Western influence, self-isolation is quite common. So a lot of people don't know their neighbors. You keep to yourself. In Congo, it's hard to be alone, and it's hard to almost keep to yourself. You know all your neighbors. You know the lady that sells the bread at the corner. You know the people at the markets. So I think the social culture is very different in the sense that I'm not gonna say everybody's in everybody's business, but it kind of is that way.
It kind of is.
No, it's true. So it's just it's difficult to be alone. So on the one hand, it's nice, but I'm a bit of an introvert, so every now and then I would like some me time. But I do like the sense of wherever you go, you're not really alone.
You're surrounded.
Yeah, definitely. That can be both a blessing, and it could also be a pain sometimes. My next question for you is, what are you mostly proud of? I think obviously you've been doing what you do since you were young. What are you most proud of about your journey as a creative?
I think the thing I'm most proud of my journey as a creative is what I'm most proud of my journey in life is just that I didn't give up. I've had 1,000,001 reasons to, but I don't, and I genuinely think it's through the grace of God, because there've been times where I want to give up, but it's there's just something that tugs at you, and you're just like, okay, fine, today is a bad day, but tomorrow's another day, and if we can wake up tomorrow, then we can try again.
Yeah, absolutely. That was way deeper than what I thought. I feel like you're humbling yourself, honestly, because I'm literally catching all the vibes while I'm talking to a celebrity. I don't know why you're humble in your words.
Okay, let's go. Are you ready? Yeah, I mean, I hosted a Universal TV red carpet event here with South African celebrities. I thought that was great. I went to a convention in France where I met a lot of my favorite actors from the Netflix show Shadow and Bone. What else? I've attended Marvel premieres, Disney premieres.
Wow.
I've been on South African talk shows twice, I think. Yeah. I've shot 2 movies in 2022. They still haven't come out yet. A lot has happened. But yeah, those are the most, you know, I've worked with Comic-Con Africa. I've done quite a bit that I'm really, really proud of.
Yeah, and you're only what, 26?
Yes.
I really think it's amazing what you do, and I really watch you, and you inspire me as well, because sometimes I can't find the motivation, but I look at you guys, you know, as young Congolese like myself, the things that you do, and I'm just so proud, honestly.
That's crazy because I've been following you for a very long time. So for me, you're the celebrity. Always loved your enthusiasm for Congo, and I love it so much.
I'm really glad that, you know, people like you are also watching and you like it. It's always an honor for me. So I think you mentioned your movie. You said 2, but there's one that I know of. I think I read in one of your videos you commented about it. I think it's Soccer Seasons. When is it coming out? Is it out yet, or do you have a timeline for us?
No, so I don't know when it's coming out. It's we shot it in June of 2022. I don't know. As soon as I know, I will tell everybody. You guys will all know.
Yeah, we better.
Everybody, I'll tell everybody. I'll scream it from the rooftop.
Yeah,
nazala songi ko.
Please do tell us. It would be awesome. What's the name of the other one that you're into?
Basically, Soccer Seasons is a series of 3 movies, and then each movie follows a bunch of children in a soccer team here in South Africa in Soweto. So I'm in 2 out of 3 of those movies.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So, Tricia, what is your ultimate dream? We are coming to the end of this interview. What is it that is your dream? What do you want to achieve in the future? Like, what would make you feel like I have lived a full life and I'm satisfied?
I mean, there's quite a lot. I'm a very big dreamer. I'm delulu. I was delulu before it became a trend. Like, I've always been delusional. I was like, anything I can dream of, I can make happen. Yeah, so I ultimately, I want to own my own production company, you know? I want to be able to make whatever movie or TV show I want to make. I want to be able to release whatever book, you know? Because obviously, now as a young filmmaker, we rely on other people. So you pitch your stories, and if you get funding, then you can make it. I want to get to a point where I can make whatever story I want, and then I can hear other people's pitches and other young African stories and be able to make their stories a reality as well.
Yeah. Do you have any last words that you would like to say to everybody that is watching us here? Anything that you would like to promote, you know? Ana mabanga, na bwaki yokutukuna na bwaki tanti nanga na Londres.
Shout out to mpisi na Congo na Kikwiti na Kwilu. Shout out to my tanti, my Dr. Boli. Shout out to everybody who knows me, and yeah, thank you guys. I mean, last words, I would just say, like, being African is amazing. I wouldn't want to be anything else, and I just want more and more young people to be proud of that. And I feel like so many young people are proud of that now, and I'm so grateful, like, to all of you Africans, Congolese people out there that are killing it. Literally, thank you. Because by being you inspire the rest of us. If
you would like to know a bit more of what Tricia does, you can follow her on Instagram. She's Triciampisi. On TikTok, she's also Triciampisi. I don't know if there are other platforms where you are active, Tricia. Maybe you can tell me that once I stop with this, so that I can edit maybe towards the end. But thank you so much for coming, Tricia. It's always a pleasure talking to you. From the very first time we spoke, I was like, yeah, I like this girl's vibe. I think you are completely the same on social media as you are as a person, and that is always refreshing for me to see. Thank you once again for accepting this invite. We loved having you, and I cannot wait to share your story with other people as well.
Thank you so much. You're so amazing. Keep being your incredible self. I had a wonderful time.
I'll try. So that was all for today's video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the video and that you learned one thing or two from Tricia's journey. Do feel free to subscribe if you are new on Congo Talks and this is your first time. There's more stories like this coming. I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye for now.